Nestled high in the Rocky Mountains and broadcasting from the Pineapple to the Big Apple. As sure as the north wind blows and the South Sea flows, the Conspirati Show begins now.
April 26th, 1992. There was a riot on the streets. Tell me, where were you? What's happening, everybody? This is just James and Josh coming to you in the throes of civil disobedience in its finest form. I'm sitting here in the nestled in Denver, Colorado. I can see downtown, and shit's popping off. How's shit looking out there for you, Josh?
I'm slightly further away from downtown, so it's quiet here. Fireworks, that's about it. No one's rolling through the outskirts to set fire to the nearest garbage can.
Yet, but Bruce Lee did tell us you drop a pebble in a pond, the ripples cross the whole pond. And this kind of seems what we got going on here. So we thought it'd be an interesting topic to kind of sit down, splash a little conspirati into your life, and talk about really everything that's been going on. It's been an interesting couple weeks here. Like I said, I mean, literally right now, a mile and a half away from me, tear gas is being launched onto citizens. There was the protests that first protest, I guess, kicked off about 2 weeks ago as part of the reopen protest, and obviously led us up to the frankly horrific events of what was that now? 4 days ago?
Yeah, 4 days ago, at least I learned of George Floyd.
Unbelievable. And for those of you that have been living under a rock for the last week or so, George Floyd was a African-American man who was, I don't know, what do you think the proper term for it is? Executed, damn near? Assassinated? Murder at the very least.
Or at the very least, terminated with extreme prejudice.
Prejudice being the operative word there. This guy was murdered, in my opinion, by 4 Minnesota police. And again, the details are pretty murky on this so far as what he was even, what the situation started on. But there's some horrendous video you can watch, multiple different angles. Thank God we're all carrying HD cameras in our pocket. But I think as the story goes, Josh, he was the store that he was trying to go to said this guy might be passing a bad check or something pretty flimsy like that, right?
I think it was like a fake 20.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because I don't even think criminals have checks these days.
Yeah, well, you know, he robbed a stagecoach on the way into town. See, I took like Old West, checks, and 1930 gangster. Kind of blended it all in. No, I mean, long, short, fraud. Suspected fraud. And yeah, they slammed this guy to the ground. You can hear the video of him shouting, "I can't breathe." The guy's got his fucking knee on his neck. As this guy, George Floyd, is screaming for his fucking life. "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." And lo and behold, you hold your knee on somebody's neck with a lot of force for 5 minutes, they expire. Who would have thought, huh?
Who would have thought? And who would have thought it'd be caught on tape? Not quite the days of sprinkle some crack on him, Johnson.
I mean, the level of, and here's, so again, just to kind of unpack and set the stage here on this, what we first want to talk about, Floyd's going to be the majority of this show. But really, we'd started talking about a topic that we've been researching for the last couple of weeks called Astro Turfing. And a few weeks ago, when the Open America protests started kicking off, we were both talking with each other and looking at like, something's not right with this. Doesn't add up. And so we started digging in and came across Astro Turfing. And for those of you that don't know, Astro Turfing is where you take a movement that's supposed to look like grassroots from the people, and you use paid regulars and manipulate it. Hence the term AstroTurf, which, I mean, I don't know, Josh, frankly, I think that's one of the cleverest terms I've ever heard in my life. Grassroots to AstroTurf. I fucking love it.
Yeah, I mean, whoever's got that is a master of puns.
George Soros, looking at you.
Very well could be. And AstroTurfing really kind of came up as a topic when we're looking at also Minnesota a little bit, which is why we started talking about the riots in our in our backyards and watching the news and kind of not quite getting the quote unquote violence that is out there. At least the ones here in Denver seem to really wussed out on the burn it all down.
And here's the thing. I mean, so again, just to frame the show, this is really just going to be focusing on the riots over George Floyd. But I think it's all magnified so much by COVID. I mean, I really think that is we are literally everybody's at their breaking point with this. We're into like month 4 in 2 days of the lockdown. People lost jobs. The government said, "Hey guys, here's $5. Now you make it last." Everybody's out of money. A lot of the amnesty programs that were put through expire this Monday, the 1st of June. So people are they've had it. And with the misinformation that's been coming at us from COVID, the death reports seems to be wildly lower than what was. I mean, if you look at the CDC in March, we're stacking bodies in the streets. And now, based on the numbers on their own website, if you extract it, it's like 0.2% is the death rate. And again, I mean, I'm that's a whole nother topic, but I just think that it's not fair for me to sit here and look back with, that 2020 hindsight and say, well, I'm trying to give the powers that be the benefit of the doubt, even though I do not trust them. And I think this whole thing has been kind of a ruse, but we didn't have today's information in March. So maybe the lockdown was necessary. I don't fucking know. I'm a moron. I'm not an epidemiologist, but I do know what didn't kill George Floyd: smoking. Family Guy shout out for anyone?
No, definitely not smoking. That was pretty much someone's knee going directly into the throat.
Yeah, so a form of throat cancer in the form of the tumor being of course, white cop's knee right on your throat. But I mean, I don't know. So to frame the whole thing, I look at it like this. I don't think you're running pretty lean on anybody who would not argue there's systemic racism in the country. And yeah, I've yet to hear a well-worded, articulate argument that there's not. And at this point, I tend to think, with apparently stereotyping being all the rage, anybody who's trying to give me a well-worded, articulate argument about how cops are not whacking, African Americans at a record pace, I think you're kind of racist, And the thing that cracks me up is, again, what spawned the Black Lives Matter? The guy in New York that was selling Lucy's?
Yeah, Eric Gardner.
Yeah.
I can't breathe.
Eric Gardner, again, I can't breathe. He's a guy selling Lucy's in New York, which are like, I think a pack of cigarettes in New York is like $90. So people buy a pack and you sell one cigarette for $3 or $4. Technically illegal. Nobody gives a shit. Cop, white cop, of course, gave a shit. Slammed the guy on the ground. He's shouting, "I can't breathe." He dies. Out of that murder, these are my thoughts, say what you will, but certainly seem like murder to me. Out of that action, you get Black Lives Matter movement. And the Black Lives Matter movement says, fuck you, cops. Stop killing black dudes at a record number. And out of that, you get the Colin Kaepernick protests, and the whole country is all in an uproar about that. And what cracks me up about that is the police have the opportunity to come out and say that those actions weren't right. Look, obviously, there's a lot of tension between us and the African American population. We need to mend fences. They could have done that, but what they chose to do is, oh yeah, well, Blue Lives Matter. Like, what the fuck is this? That's your response to Black Lives Matter? Is Blue Lives Matter? I mean, it hurts.
And it was right. Didn't the blue? Well, no. I was thinking the Blue Lives Matter came after that revenge killing of those cops or shooting of those cops up in Seattle at breakfast.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't doubt that. To me, it's just like they have yet to take ownership on it. I mean, you look at everything. Like, I don't think it's any. I mean, is there more crime in African American low income communities than there is in white low income communities? Absolutely. Now, is that because black people commit more crime and whites don't? No. It's based on the simple fact that you're sending more patrol units there, and based on numbers alone, you're going to have more crimes caught because you have more cops there. If you have more crimes caught, you send more police there. So it's just a self-fulfilling kind of cycle that they're in on it.
Well, it's also more profitable to go into the black communities since we have private prisons.
And I mean, that's going to be an episode unto itself. I mean, I think that is one of my just most hated things about this country is that with our healthcare system. Like, again, I've thought in the past that if you ever want to have a quote utopian society, the three things that should be your pillars and never for profit are education, healthcare, criminal reform. What are our biggest moneymakers in this country? What do you know? I don't know, the whole thing. So there's been a long history of this within the last recent history too. The last couple of years, the Colin Kaepernick protests, guy goes out there, takes a knee, and literally you would have thought he was out like raping people in the mouth on the regular. One guy takes a knee as a form of nonviolent protest to say, hey, cops are not treating my people fair. I'm going to take a knee for this.
Well, keep in mind, it's one black guy.
Well, he was raised by white parents in a rich upper middle class area, I believe. So does that still count? How's that work?
For white people of a certain type, no, he's still black.
Yeah, and he did have an afro. I forgot about the afro. All right, fuck him. You don't kneel.
And he's got tattoos on his arms. A
lot of them. I mean, here's a fun fact for you. The word thug actually looked into the origin of that, and that came from a group in India in the 17 and 1800s, where colonial Britain. The Thuggee cult would murder travelers, and out of Thuggee we get thug. There's your fun.
I really thought you were going to say some group in India called I don't know.
Insert clever thing or awful thing here.
Or both.
Okay, cleverly awful. I mean, yeah. It could have been. No, I've just always been fascinated by that. But no, I mean, Colin Kaepernick does this and it caught on, obviously. And just listening to the fucking... It's a good litmus test for me. I'm not saying any side that's drawing lines in the sands is good people. But if I see like a upper middle class white person say, well, you shouldn't do that. Or, Blue Lives Matter too. I'm like, you're kind of racist. I mean, like, how can you not support that? To say that, like... To me, if you don't support that, you don't support America in and of itself. And like we've talked about on other episodes, kind of the propaganda and running it through those 5 filters, like that doesn't pass the smell test at all, how quickly they perverted that narrative.
I kind of wonder, like, I feel like the worship, kind of really started as we started militarizing the police.
Oh, well, I mean,
that's where I think like the Blue Lives Matter stuff really seems to kind of come out. It's very militaristic, kind of like
partisan.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more the same way we worship the military in this country. I've noticed a real big swing to worshiping that badge.
And that's disgusting to me. Frankly, I'm not a fan of police in any way, shape, or form. I find them to be unconstitutional, quite frankly. And a lot of people are probably bristling right now at that thought, but I'll ask you this. Why is it that I would have a massive problem with the police department and I don't have a problem with a sheriff's department? Take your time. And it's a simple thing.
It's easier to become a sheriff?
It's an elected position. And I think that is a very big fucking demarc point that nobody talks about. The sheriff is an elected official that says, we as a community and a group give you this power. We want you to have this power because the laws of the land and you police us, right? The cops, no, they are hired. Nobody gave them that authority.
So there's an interesting thought though, because if you have a sheriff that's elected and that sheriff reflects the populace, that could be more dangerous in some ways than a unaffiliated, let's say, leader.
Are you looking for, no bias involved there type of thing?
No, I'm just saying it's interesting to say hired versus someone that could be elected that would trample people's rights because that's who they appeal to in that area. Well,
I mean, it's simple. Like if a sheriff goes and starts getting tyrannical, there's at least some form of recourse that the people of that township. I mean, LA has a sheriff's department, right?
Yeah, so does Denver.
Yeah, so it's not like these are only small towns. Like, no. And the sheriff, if they can be unelected, too sweet. knock them out of office. And again, if they start getting like that, the citizens of the area can get together and say, go fuck yourself. Right now, that over your head, at least I think it makes you a part of the community. I think one of the massive problems that nobody's really talking about with law enforcement is these cops they're not parts of the community. I mean, I'm a white male and I've never had a good interaction with a cop. I look at like, a lot of poor communities, those fucking cops, they're not part of the community at all. They roll through there. Like you look at cops rolling through a poor neighborhood. I see it, and this might be kind of reductionist here, but I see it the exact same way as an armed Humvee rolling through Baghdad. They are an occupying force. They are not welcome there. They're not wanted there. And I mean, I don't know.
But that to me kind of tracks to the militarization. It's not as friendly. And someone said, and I don't remember who it was, something about that. The military protects the country from, the enemies of the nation, right? The outside enemies. And the police are there to protect and serve. But as the police becomes more of a military, who then is the enemy? Which would be us, the state. And by extension, especially, people of color, unfortunately. Well,
and that's it. I mean, to protect and serve, like they don't, so far as I know, that's just like a catchy slogan. That's ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it, right? McDonald's doesn't give a fuck if you love it or not. They're loving your money. And to protect and serve, like that doesn't mean shit to cops. I don't think they take any type of an oath that says, I promise to protect and serve the neighborhood. I think it's spray painted.
All oaths are optional.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with the protect and serve thing, that started in LA. Like if you look it up, that motto, to protect and serve, was born out of the Los Angeles Police Department in 1963.
By Joe Friday, believe it or not.
I mean, anything else happened in LA in 1963 that you can think of?
No, nothing.
I don't know. It was just really hot that year. I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. When were the Watts riots? That was earlier, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know that it was kind of born on the heels of that. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm a complete idiot. No, Watts riots were in 1965. So they put protect and serve in 1963. The Watts riots are in 1965. You know what? We're just going to keep this logo going. That was a fluke. We don't think that's a problem. I don't know. But when you look at these kind of protests now, like Minnesota is a fucking war zone right now. And I mean, there's videos. And here's the thing. When you want to kind of sprinkle some crack on them, Johnson, I want to sprinkle some conspiracy on this motherfucker because it's not adding up. There's a lot of evidence coming out, and who fucking knows anymore nowadays? I mean, shit is so muddy, but there's claims coming out that there are a lot of bad actors in these groups that are pushing like white nationalist agendas, like alt-right shit, and they're just using this to kick off like some fucking race war, or that they're using this to kind of like anarchists. Like, again, I consider myself to be a traditional anarchist, so I don't like that term. But when I say anarchist, I want you to think of not what anarchy is, but what you think of when you think of anarchy: the burning cars and the lawlessness, because that's not what anarchy is about. Anybody says otherwise, I encourage you to read some books. But just trying to like set it off, trying to watch the world burn. They burned there's like looting all over the place. Targets being looted. And you know the world has gone to hell when Minnesota turns its back on Target. That's like the seventh seal, man. It's not good.
Now they didn't target Best Buy because Best Buy doesn't want to get kicked while it's down.
And they're like, not today, friend. Not today. I don't know. The footage that I found, like there's some the riots going on, and I want to say Dallas tonight as we speak. I just saw footage of some guy that ran out trying to defend his shop, what I presume to be his shop. Keep in mind, guys, anybody out there listening, I'm a fucking moron. I don't even realize half the shit I'm saying. But what I presume to be his shop, he runs out there with a goddamn Braveheart sword and gets the ever-loving shit kicked out of him by a mob of people guys running up, kicking him into what looks to be the head when he's down, and then it just shows a lifeless body laying there. Again, it's on Twitter. I mean, when the whole COVID thing first kicked off, Wuhan looked like World War Z, and now we're finding out it's 0.2%. So who the fuck knows what to believe? But just the riots are all over the place, and I think it's absolutely magnified by COVID. And I don't want to, say that it's not a big deal that this guy was murdered, because it is. It's a massive deal. And again, these cops are wildly out of control, but I just don't think you see this level of it.
Level of cop violence or the level of people reacting?
Civil unrest.
What do you think? But do you think because I would disagree. I think we would see it, given that you had George Floyd, you had that EMT who got shot to hell when the cops did no-knock plainclothes raid, where the guy thereafter, who was a criminal, had a gun, though legally owned and could have, and started shooting because he thought someone was coming in, and they busted on in and shot everyone. And you don't see the NRA coming out and saying this guy was within his right to stand his ground at his house. Conspicuously silent.
All of a sudden, the NRA, wait, we've got a press release ready to go. I'm sorry, we can't release this. According to these papers, he's black. My God, man. I bet you the serial number was filed off of his gun. Throw that away, Johnson.
And sprinkle some crack on him.
While you're at it. They've shut the fuck up about it. I mean, again, this issue has not been unnoticed. I'm just saying that I think it's magnified by COVID. I think that you put it on a hot day. And now here's the thing. What really fucked me off today. Perfectly nice Saturday here, man. Gorgeous. 80 degrees, sun shining, feeling pretty good about stuff. And I'm walking down the street and I get a fucking alert on my phone. And I was listening to music, and it's, of course, when those alerts come through, they're god fucking awful. And public safety alert. The curfew for the city and county of Denver is in effect May 30th at 8 p.m. to June 1st at 5 a.m. The order goes into effect Saturday and Sunday. Travel for essential activities needed for health and safety is permitted. Employees who need to drive and travel to and from work are exempt. Info at denvergov.org. With no fucking explanation. So I look at denvergov.org, and it just is COVID, right? And then I think it was you, dude, that texted me the screenshot. 10,000 protesters expected at city capitol in protest of George Floyd. I'm like, what the fuck? Things are opening back up. I mean, down the street from my house is a bar. It was fucking packed last night, to where I'm like, got a little uneasy. I'm like, you fucking goddamn outbreak monkeys. What's wrong with you? So
this is not the monkey, though, that stole the supposed sample of COVID-19 and ran off with it.
Was that a macaque or a capuchin? I think it was a macaque.
All I know is the monkey.
I always thought capuchins were the ones we had to watch, but turns out I was wrong. But no, I mean, so shit's opening back up, and then you put this out. A fucking curfew that we'd never had before. First time in the city's history. And then you try to tell me it's because of COVID. It's like, you motherfuckers, do you not know how people work? Do you not know human nature? Because I hadn't thought about rioting or protesting once until I got that fucking text message. And then it's like, are you trying to kick this off? Are you actively seeking this? Is this a good excuse for you to start fucking railroading us with more of your agenda, stripping more privacy, adding more fucking bullshit, tracking this, that, and the other thing? Like, and it just got my brain thinking, like, I guarantee you all these like things on Twitter, like Twitter is where you get news now. And it's infiltrated by every single group with every single agenda you could possibly imagine. You start looking up at these hashtags and it's like, what is happening? What the fuck is going on? But to try to shut down an entire city the day after, like, well, again, things are opened up here. And then you try to pull this shit and pretend it's for COVID. I'm like, that is pretty fucking thin argument there.
Well, the curfew is only is 8 to 5 a.m. each day. Not that it's shut down from 8 p.m. tonight until 5 a.m. on the 1st.
When's the best time to riot, Josh? It's at nighttime.
Right. Well, that's
time for creeping.
The right time would, if we actually want to do something, would be during the workday where everyone just strikes out. But
Yeah.
you know, too many people have been brainwashed to worship the corporations.
Yeah. Anybody
For
out
people too.
you want to get shit done in this country? A, stop buying shit. I'm just as guilty as you are. Or B, if we had labor, just take a week off. Watch how quick shit would change. Watch how quick we'd get what we wanted. But you can't do it. I get it. You got a mortgage. You got bills to pay. I understand that.
But we already saw the power of what, not buying anything really could do with COVID, right? The only problem is people need to stop buying from Amazon if we decide to walk away from it because it'll just give them more power.
This motherfucker, this bald-headed prick, goes into this, by all accounts, a goddamn Bond villain. And he comes out of it projected to be the first trillionaire. And again, anybody who thinks that Jeff Bezos has $1 trillion stuffed into his mattress, you're fucking... I don't know how to help you. But yes, the majority of his net worth, well, it's tied up in stocks, and he couldn't really liquidate it because then the company would... I understand that. I don't give a fuck about that. The fact that he's going to be a trillionaire is fundamentally disgusting to me. Don't like it.
Well, people have to, be willing not to have the convenience of something showing up the next day.
God damn it. It's so hard. It's so hard. I don't want to sound like I'm coming down on everybody because I'm so fucking guilty with Amazon. There was a time where Walmart was the bad guy. And that was a great time in my life because I could say, you know what? No, bro, I don't shop at Walmart. I don't like their practices, and I don't like how they hurt small communities. And it's just not okay. For me, personally, I choose to spend my money at this other major international corporation. So if you want to shop at Walmart, bro, that's fine, but that's not for me. And I could do that. I could just, I feel so good about myself because I don't shop at Walmart.
Plus, you got to lie and say, well, I'm supporting a company from my hometown.
And I did a lot.
Oh, yeah? So did I.
Costco, in all fairness, I mean, you had Sam's Club and you had Costco.
Oh, Costco's awesome.
Costco's fantastic. You go in there, those motherfuckers are skipping to work, wearing baseball hats. Their employees are wearing baseball hats of their local sporting team. How progressive is that? You go into Sam's Club. I know why they don't sell guns at Sam's Club. And it's for no other reason that every employee looks like they want to shoot themselves in the goddamn mouth. They pay them like $4 an hour. I think they actually have to pee in their faces when they begin and end their shift. That might have changed with COVID, but I still think that's policy. But again, all of a sudden Jeff Bezos shows up and, oh no. Oh, fuck. Amazon's the bad guy now? Well, Walmart still sucks. Oh, yes, absolutely. They're still terrible. But this guy, he has people, well, sure, Walmart pisses in people's faces. This guy has his employees pissing in bottles because they're down to the second. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, now you have to reconcile that shopping Walmart is shopping local.
God damn it. Only if it's a Walmart neighborhood store. Because they have those designed to look like neighborhood stores, but they're not. Don't fall for it. But fuck, man. I would love to be able to take moral high ground and say, I don't shop at Amazon. But God damn it, I buy everything on Amazon, and it sucks. I'm actively trying to deprogram myself for it. And when COVID first kicked off, I was, oh God, I need nothing. And I'm buying shit on Amazon just because I'm bored, because I've been at home for a month. I'm like, ooh, they make one in blue? I didn't need any of it. And I still did it. Because I'm a fucking hypocrite. That's why.
Yep, people can't eat, and you're just out there just spending money left and right.
God damn it. Like it's cool. But back on track. Sorry for the derailment there. But I mean, honestly, if you think about this, so you look at these protests. Again, Minneapolis kicked it off first. Rightfully so. And they're out there. It started off peacefully. And then all of a sudden, shit's catching on fire. They're trying to blame the protesters, right? Saying that protesters have done this. Well, there's been videos coming out that are proving it's not the peaceful protesters doing it. There were white people setting fires, which of course, I mean, it's not like you don't have to be black to protest a guy getting murdered. Matter of fact, I'd encourage everybody to protest. I think it's incumbent upon a population to do so. But I do kind of raise my hand and say, wait, why is that white dude lighting that building on fire? Is he just getting caught up in the moment? Or does he want something else to happen? What is his motivation? And then you hear about groups like what we were talking about, dude, the Boogaloo Boys. Some twisted alt-right thing trying to kick off Civil War part 2 Ghost Protocol type shit. I mean, I've been ranting and raving. What do you think?
Well, I'm very suspicious of, the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis going up in flames. Do you really think that,
how do you burn down
a 22-year-old quote unquote anarchist wearing black is going to be able to get close enough to where all the cops are, since the cops run out there stopping him from doing anything?
So walk us through the story, Josh, because all I know is I saw a fucking police precinct on fire, and I smiled, jerked off, and went to sleep. Not to the image of the precinct, to the image of the precinct when it was on fire. That's what I used to jerk off to.
The smell of bacon just really gets it going.
Man, hot.
No, I mean, my understanding is just, cops were around. It's also the precinct. There's just some questioning of how would anyone get close enough, to set a fire like that and it not get taken care of. It looked like, someone...
It's an inferno.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of coke and gunpowder around, but usually half of that's at home. There's not enough to, set up the whole entire precinct, but it just was. It was like an inferno, It didn't seem like something that someone would easily be able to just do.
See, I'm looking like right now,
especially if it was a black protester. You're not getting within
of a cop
500 feet of the precinct while there's a protest going.
I think it's like Ready Player One. They have that force field around it, and you can't get through it. I don't know, man. Like maybe I'm just picturing like some bad comedy. What are you doing there, you white dude? Can of gas, Zippo in his hand, trying to light it. Nothing. Okay. But I got my eye on you, citizen. Easy. You're on 4th Street. I mean, the entire building, it looked like it'd be like a 5-story building, dude. And the entire thing's on fire.
Yeah. That's what doesn't make sense. It's just, college kids are going to smash a window, or in the case of Denver, do the light trash can on fire, where it's not going to burn any of the buildings down next to it. It's more of, I'm making a statement.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, it's like, I mean, shit, where we growing up in Seattle, man, you remember the
WTO?
WTO?
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget one of the most polar, and when was that? 96, 97?
Yes. Yeah.
So I was 17 years old. I was a fucking jerk off. I'm like, yeah, burn it down. Being older and understanding a little bit more. I look back on my life, and there was a moment in that where, and to be honest, I hate the WTO. Yeah, it sucks. I couldn't have explained it to you. I had no fucking clue what it was back then. Ironically enough, I mean, broken clock being right twice a day, I was right to hate it because I know quite a bit about it now, and it's an abomination. But I'll never forget, it was what's the mall downtown called?
White Center.
Racist. Okay.
Have you been to Seattle?
I thought it would be Asian Center, if I'm being honest. So
That's down Linwood, there. Not Seattle.
We're down there at Caucasian Center. Caucasian Center Mall, downtown Seattle. There's a Nike store, and I see this guy kicking the shit out of the Nike swoosh on top of the Nike store. Maybe it was the end. And he climbed the building, and he's kicking. I'm like, man, how did he climb up? He seems to be stuck to that building really well. His shoes must have really good traction. Oh, my God. And it was a giant Nike swoosh that he's kicking the Nike store down with. And the irony of that was not lost on me at 17. I was like, oh, fuck. What are we doing? So you got to get people out there lashing out at shit they don't understand. I mean, I'm looking right now on Twitter as we speak. Liam Welsh, that's the whitest name in America. I bet you I think I know what Nike store he shops at. Says, but guys, there's only 2 or 3 bad cops. Retweet, and he tweeted 2 cops. Hashtag Denver police caught on camera throwing a reporter into a fire for trying to take a picture of the scene. Hashtag Denver riots. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag FTP. Wonder what FTP stands for. Is that like an old computer code?
I assume fuck the police.
Oh, I thought it was like FTP.:. I didn't know this guy got down like that. Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. And I'm trying to look at the video of this, and I can't really... looks like they chucked a guy into a fire. So there you have it.
I have one question for you.
Shit.
Was he black going in?
We know which way he was coming out. I see what you did there, and I liked it. Good job. What
No,
about the guy-
but I'm also being serious. I mean, track that he was.
I'm looking at Fox 31, so it's that Greg guy who's the Mr. Blue Lives Matter jagoff.
Oh, but notice he didn't wear his Blue Lives Matter mask while the protests were going on. I think he might be a pussy.
Explain the mask.
So we'll see him on the news, covering the quarantine, wearing his mask, being a good COVID believer. But he's got the nice U.S. flag on there. And you noticed just right to the bottom that nice thin blue line broadcasting out to everyone, here in Denver. While, George Floyd and the woman in, I think it was Dallas, that got shot when they did the no-knock. Sitting there, just on the news.
It's just so
broadcasting.
blatant. Like, I don't know what you're thinking doing something like that. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know. And I'm sure there's people out there.
Especially as a journalist, supposedly.
Aren't you supposed to be neutral? Aren't you supposed to just report the facts?
Or challenge the people in power?
Speak truth to power. Yeah, that'll happen. I mean, I'm not being very shy with my views, but I'm trying to look at both sides objectively. I mean, again, the majority of my character is more. See, I get that. That hit me hard growing up in the suburbs.
I will bleep that out if this goes on YouTube, so it doesn't get a copyright strike.
There's another episode waiting. No, I don't know, man. Look at this whole goddamn mess, and I just think, you look at the videos from Denver the other day. They're interviewing this woman in front of the Capitol. She's like, "Yeah, no, they're killing us in record numbers. This is bullshit. We're here to protest this peacefully." And then you hear pop, 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 pop. Nobody knows who did it. Nobody knows why it was done, but it happened. And I'm just thinking to myself, this could easily be bad actors. Like here's some audio of what happened at the Capitol. Again, this is broad fucking daylight yesterday. Everybody's hitting the ground. There's one skinny white kid who's like, "Yep, I know this drill." He runs. And then everybody scatters. And that's that. There's been no other speak about it. But, say I'm some whacked out far right nationalist that wants to kick off the same type of people that would storm, City Hall with assault rifles and masks on. Strike me as the type.
Or perhaps a hired type.
Very good point. And now what would be the agenda on something like that, though?
I'd say who needs the country to be reopened the most? The people or the corporations?
Well, and I'd agree.
We won. That's one path. The other path are perhaps people who are looking for a reason to finally kick this baby off. Civil War III, so big we skipped Civil War II.
Straight to the third. Maybe we could pull Mexico and Canada in too. Counted as World War III?
Or Continental Battle 1.
I like that. Cage match. I mean, Mexico's already a goddamn war zone. I don't know. If you remove all of our Spec Ops guys, Delta, anybody who reports to JSOC and the conventional SEAL teams, if you remove all of those guys, okay, I'll throw in Force Recon. I'll throw in no, not Rangers, but I'll throw in Special Forces. If you remove all those guys, I put my money on the cartel's army over ours. That place fucking scares me.
I would agree with that because they will have bought the rest of our army.
And that'll be a fun one to talk about, the Fast and Furious. That'll be another episode, that scandal. No, I mean, again, which we'll talk about in the Astro Turfing episode. I think that was absolutely put on by a lot of corporations because they needed the plebs to get back into work and keep the factories moving. I don't see what's to gain from a corporation standpoint here if the entire system collapses and bursts into flames. I think this is done more for ideology, and an ideology of be it white nationalism, be it anarchism, not traditional anarchism, mind you, be it stupidity. But I think the people that are lighting shit on fire are not there for George Floyd. This is just their opportunity to try to kick it off.
I agree. Yeah, you had that cop, supposedly a cop, but they don't know exactly who it was. The umbrella man up in Minneapolis walking through, wearing a gas mask, has an umbrella, wearing all black, gloves, just wandering around with a hammer, just walking by windows.
What is that? Again, there's a massive, I call that a riot at that point. But this guy's walking through like he's in a fucking like Andy Dufresne on the yard at Shawshank. Not a care in the goddamn world. Just smashing fucking windows with a hammer.
And very concerned about not being easily ID'd.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. And I know a lot of shit doesn't add up anymore, but specifically this stuff, like I'm looking at the top headline in Twitter right now is tear gas used to enforce curfews as protests continue across the U.S. Guys, if you think the shit isn't going to land and you're wherever the fuck you're listening to, unless, we've got some listeners in New Zealand. We're very big in Belgium. You guys are probably good. But if you live in the United States and you think the shit is not going to hit your doorstep if it continues the way it is, I live in fucking Denver and the shit is here. Denver. You would have never in a million years thought this would have happened.
Not if folks aren't being perhaps driven in, which is the speculation by some, including the mayors of multiple cities. I was reading, a story today that all the mayors these people aren't our people. They're not Denverites. They're not, from Minneapolis, St. Paul. They're all coming in from other places.
I'll put it this way. You're running out of places to come in from. The nice thing is that if these are bad actors, they're not going to have to travel soon enough, because as of tonight, here's a list of the cities that have a curfew in effect. Minneapolis, Chicago, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Denver, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Cleveland, Columbus, Portland, Miami, Milwaukee, Salt Lake City. I don't know.
Why the fuck Salt Lake City?
I mean, that's got to be a typo. NBC News. And
or it's just the normal Mormon bedtime.
Yeah, I've had my warm milk for 30 minutes by 8 o'clock. I'm asleep.
Newsflash: curfews in effect all the time in Salt Lake City.
Serious. Like, I don't know. Minneapolis. A curfew went into effect on Minneapolis Saturday at 8 p.m. after the city braced for another night of unrest. Quote, by being out tonight and breaking the 8 p.m. curfew, you are helping the people use crowds as cover to prey on Minneapolis and destroy the community. Mayor Jacob Fry wrote on Twitter, the city was also under a curfew Friday night. So they learned Friday night just how well curfews work. And they're like, you know what? That worked so good last night. We're going to do it again. And then Chicago's over there like cheating, looking at their test, like, hey, we're going to do that too. But what's weird, Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, which this twat, I swear to God, some of the shit that's come out of this woman's mouth recently, this doesn't surprise me. But they put a curfew on from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. What the fuck? Explain that to me. You got Minneapolis, that's 8 to 5. You got Denver, that's 8 to 5. Chicago, nah, we're going to do 9 to 6.
You got mob hours and you got regular people hours. So they need the extra hour.
I mean, and like LA, Eric Garcetti said originally, that's the mayor of LA, set a curfew starting at 8 p.m. for downtown Los Angeles, lasting until 5:30. Okay. Why do I feel like these cities are sitting around picking, like, when anybody out there that's had a shitty job, we've all had them, but it's like the second rung up from shitty job where you don't get a 30-minute lunch. You get to choose if you want a half an hour or an hour lunch. I feel like that's what LA did here. No. We'll do 8 p.m. We're in agreement there, but we're going till 5:30. We've got to run to the bank. We've got some errands.
I'm just waiting for a swing shift curfew.
Seriously. And then just like random day. Oh, sorry. Yep. Monday is in fact June 1st. We'll have a curfew in effect from 2 p.m. to 3:29 p.m.
So interesting thing, right, is curfews, which, if we're talking about being worried about, say, martial law, authoritism, or totalitarianism. There you go. Starting to get hit a little bit. What better way than to have, outside actors coming in and doing this? Everyone in their homes, the evening.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
if they're peaceful protests, there'd be no reason to have a curfew, especially, all happening in liberal cities.
And that's the thing.
Except for Salt Lake.
Yeah. and a few others out there.
Swear to God, if Bakersfield shows up on that list,
I look at this and I don't think there's anybody out there that, no matter where you fall on the political spectrum, this is fucking unconstitutional. I'm sorry, it is. If you want to make the case for it over sustained nights of massive riots like Minnesota or Minneapolis, I don't know. Maybe you could make the case. But when you just start throwing up fucking arbitrary curfews clearly for people protesting, and you try to fly it under the guise of Corona, and not to mention, if we are flattening the curve on this whole fucking whatever the hell that means anyway, and yes, I know what it means. Don't send me nasty emails. If we are flattening the curve, all of a sudden this kicks up. Are you trying to spread it more? I mean, think about a mob. I don't know. We're supposed to socially distance ourselves. What's a fucking mob? There were 10,000 protesters in Denver today. Were they all 6 feet apart? I mean, and like I said, at this point, I'm pretty sure it's not nearly as serious as initially sold. We were kind of sold a false bill of goods and we complied. But I don't fucking know. I don't know what to believe anymore, and that fucking pisses me off.
it's an interesting theory. I guess I would also wonder, we've always talked about, the money, and that's where you want to follow. Who benefits from COVID continuing?
I don't know.
Is this a liberal plot to gain control, perhaps?
No, I mean, maybe, but we're all like fucking jumping in line so much. And that's what's been pissing me off. It's like, we did it. We shut shit down. The world came to a halt based on the numbers of massive deaths that you guys told us were coming. So everybody did it. Everybody complied for the most part. Now it hits and it's not nearly as bad. And you can easily make the case, well, that's because we shut it all down. I'm sorry, walking around with a goddamn bandana on your face like you're going to rob a bank in the year 1800, it doesn't fucking, that does nothing for you. It was not the reason why it didn't spread anymore. Could be any number of things that I'm too dumb to understand, but I can tell you wearing a fucking bra on your face did not stop the spread of it. Maybe 1%. So the fact that we all did this and now it's like if we comply with this curfew order, okay, it's like they'll just keep taking, I feel like we're coming to a point where the people are going to have to say, it's bad. It's got to get rowdy. And that scares me at that notion. Me of shit 10 years ago, be happy to be out there lighting Molotovs at the best of you. But now, no, I got other concerns. I gotta get a little bit older before we can start kicking off Road Warrior shit. So I don't know. It's very conflicting.
I think it's either going to happen now or happen soon enough that we'll have a breaking point.
Yeah. I mean, and again,
and we've gotten better at exploiting those people as well.
We're just so goddamn gullible. I mean, again, like that, there's a very distinct reason why people study the mind of the individual. And there's an entire other discipline that studies the mind of the crowd, because individually we can be smart. But when we get in that mob and that crowd, it's not good. So I don't know. Tell us what you guys think. I mean, like I said, this has been all over the goddamn board, like any decent conspiracy is, I guess. And I haven't connected shit. But
so if you've made the connections, please let us know. All I know is I haven't made any connections, but I believe that much like COVID, I think there's actors out there that are using both of these things to further an agenda that we haven't quite figured out yet. And I think that will be part of our next episode on Astro Turfing. Because we've done a lot of research up to this point, but with these riots kicking off, I think there's a little bit more to be done. What you say, James?
Absolutely. And this is in response to the current times, but the Astro Turfing one, the stuff that we've got on it, like everything that I've come up with is fact. No conspiracy on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of scary when you think about it. Yeah, it's out there. It's actually happening. There are groups of powerful, rich motherfuckers out there that get people to show up and protest something because they pay them $15 an hour. That sentence, somebody told me that before I started researching. That's absurd. Nope. Dead fucking true. Dead true. And but yeah, with the riots, I'm just concerned that there are some fucking whack job organizations out there trying to kick it off. And again, I'd encourage you guys to look into the Boogaloo Boys. That's it's pretty scary shit what these guys want.
And we'll talk about that in the next episode. I know you did a lot of research on those guys.
Yeah, it's unnerving. I mean, again, I want massive change. I think we have systemic corruption. What I don't want is chaos. But the way things are headed, man, it's like we're either headed for a soft landing or a hard landing. And I fear the hard landing is getting closer with every day. Jesus, we thought the news cycle was busy last year. Think of it this year. It's accelerating at record clip. I mean, good God. Think about every headline. I listened to the news talk for fucking years about Bill Clinton getting a blowjob. Years they talked about it. It was the headline for years. Now it's, I swear, hour by hour. Headlines that would have lasted months in the past are gone. So who knows? But
and no better year to implement all this Astro Turfing and kicking things off than right now.
Coming up on an election. Sharpen your pencils, guys. So let us know what you think, though. And as always, if you like hearing what we're doing and like our mindless rants, please drop us a like. Tell your friends about the show. And 5 stars would be nice. That 5-sided fistagon on the stars.
And as many as possible, because we want that Rogan money.
Come on. I will sell out in a hot fucking second. I will tattoo Spotify on my nutsack and forehead for 1/10 of that money. I'll donate some of it to charity. But I'm trying to catch Bezos, guys, and you guys aren't really helping me right now. I want to be the second trillionaire. You guys get us there. For God's sakes, get us there.
So we need Spotify money and Casper mattresses.
And DMT and elk blood, apparently.
Either way. Yeah. Drop us a line, send us some feedback. You can reach myself at josh@theconspirati.com and James at theconspirati.com. We'll be back.
This episode was brought to you by Blue Chew or any other sponsor out there.
Please contact us at either of those email addresses.
They're both awesome.
Yeah. Till next time, take care of yourself, and we'll be back shortly.
We'll see you soon, guys. And if you are going out to kick shit off in the streets, please take care of yourselves and others.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace.